Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, Anthropic faces fallout across the federal government after its clash with the DOD. And Madhu Gottumukkala is out as acting CISA director, replaced by Nick Andersen. It's Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Now, let's get into the day's top headlines. The high-stakes dispute between Anthropic and the U.S. military led to a sweeping decision Friday by President Donald Trump to remove the AI startup's technology from all federal agencies. Already, several agencies have taken action. The General Services Administration, Department of State, and Department of Health and Human Services immediately indicated in public statements, comments, or internal emails that they were moving to boot Anthropic from their enterprises. And the fallout is sure to continue as agencies untangle the cloud maker from their workflows. The clash centered on the Defense Department wanting Anthropic to remove stipulations that limited the military's use of the technology in real-world operations, involving surveillance and autonomous weapon systems, something that Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei said in a statement before the Defense Department's decision would not mesh with the company's ethical guidelines. In alignment with Trump's announcement, GSA said it would remove Anthropic from the sandbox testing platform USAI.gov and its multiple award schedule procurement opportunities. GSA Administrator Edward Force said in a statement Friday, quote, "GSA stands with the president in rejecting attempts to politicize work dedicated to America's national security. Building resilient, secure, and scalable AI solutions demands alignment, trust, and a willingness to make hard calls," unquote. Similarly, a State Department spokesperson told DefenseScoop that the agency was taking immediate steps to implement the directive and bring programs into full compliance. At HHS, Deputy Chief AI Officer Armand Sharma emailed staff that the agency would be disabling Enterprise Cloud as a result of the directive. That email, which was obtained by FedScoop, also stated that user history would be preserved and a communication to all staff was expected the following week. Notably, HHS rolled out Claude to all of its staff in December as part of the GSA's OneGov strategy. Under that deal, Anthropic offered its platform to the federal government at a deeply discounted rate of $1 per agency for a year. FedScoop reached out to HHS, the White House, and nearly 20 other federal agencies for further details on plans, but did not receive any immediate responses. Anthropic also did not respond to a request for comment prior to publication. Now in other news, Madhu Gottumukkala is out as acting director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, with current agency executive director for cybersecurity, Nick Andersen, replacing him as the interim leader. News of Gottumukkala's departure breaks one day after CyberScoop reported on widespread dismay with the agency's performance during the first year of the Trump administration, with significant criticism aimed at Gottumukkala's leadership on both sides of the aisle after a number of unflattering stories about his stewardship. When asked about the departure of Gottumukkala, a DHS official told CyberScoop last Thursday that, quote, "Madhu Gottumukkala has done a remarkable job in a thankless task of helping reform CISA back to its core statutory mission. He tackled the woke, weaponized, and bloated bureaucracy that existed at CISA, wrangling contracts to save American taxpayer dollars," unquote. Gottumukkala served as Chief Information Officer under then South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who is now Secretary of DHS, before he was picked as Deputy Director of the agency. John Planke was nominated to serve as full-time Director of CISA, but that nomination is stalled, which left Gottumukkala as the acting director in his place. Upon his departure, Gottumukkala has now taken on a new role at DHS as Director of Strategic Implementation. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, as always, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.